Suki, let me just say, if I had a photograph of you, something to remind me. What's going on, Sue? Good to see you, babe.
Good. Good to see you too. I mean, I think we're gonna go to the 80s, the good times that we had. So many good memories.
Have we left the 80s yet?
No, I haven't. You and I definitely have not left the 80s. That was like our happy space, and we're staying there.
Oh, forget it. As soon as I knew we were getting Frank Maudsley from Flock of Seagulls and Steve Blacknell on the phone on the show. You don't even know. There's a song that they used to sing that we used to play in high school. Telecommunication. One of my favorite Flock of Seagulls songs. So we're letting everybody load up while we're here on Facebook Live, where we tape the show all the time before it goes out to all of our distribution sites. Soup. Let me just text Philly Kid, get him on. Let's get Philly up. Suki, how was Father's Day? Everything was good?
I was going to say, how was Father's Day for you? I mean, I feel like summer is here in America because, we're broadcast worldwide. So
yes,
summer is here and the kids are all up to their shenanigans, which is really watching TikTok.
And listen, everybody, if your kids go to sleepaway camp, everybody's getting ready to send their kids off.
Oh, yeah.
My wife right now is upstairs getting keratin in her hair, Suki. So my eyes are foggy, nor can I breathe.
I mean,
so it's all good.
I'd like to do something. I mean, I love that Lara is just so on top of it.
Yes, of course. She's getting the chemical treatment upstairs. She's getting ready for a trip to Puerto Rico, 4th of July
weekend.
I
want to have her life. I really do.
I'm coming to watch fireworks with you.
Yes,
Suki,
come.
We've got some great shows coming up. By the way, tomorrow, we have 2 separate shows tomorrow, one at 5:30, one at 8 o'clock. The 8 o'clock show, we've got Adrienne Barbeau coming on the show.
Nice.
Of course, from Maud and all the hundreds of TV and movies. And so Adrienne Barbeau's coming on. Suk, we're going to be going across the pond today over to the UK. Frank Maudsley from Flock of Seagulls. Steve Blacknell, who, by the way, Steve not only a TV presenter, he's a TV coach. He teaches people how to host. But Steve was with Decca Records back in the early 80s, and he was actually the guy who signed Flock of Seagulls. That's why we have them both coming on together, and we're just going back to just a better time.
Remember how big Decca Records was? I mean, it's like every kind of record that you had that you were like listening to in the 80s.
They all said Decca on them, right?
Yeah, I know. It was all there. Incredible.
Yeah. So listen, we got a great show today. Both guys are standing by. Let's not keep them waiting. I'll hit the old show open, and away we go, baby. Come on now.
The Suki and Scott Show.
This is one of the funnest shows I've ever done.
Lady, when you're with me, I'm smiling.
It's musical. It's magical.
Suki and Scott, the 7 of Hearts. Exactly.
This is a sexy show.
Someone's getting some action.
Now, these larger-than-life personalities are on an exciting new journey as they bring you the Suki and Scott Show.
You guys nailed it. You're great. You ask great questions. You listen.
I answered you because I have respect for you guys, and it was a question respectfully put.
The Suki and Scott Show is your one-stop destination for humor.
You like De Niro and Cape Fear. Counselor!
Entertainment.
Jesse's girl.
Wonderful.
Can you paint with all the colors of the wind?
And optimism.
You guys have such amazing energy.
Ultraviolet light, it gets in there and it just fights the kung flu, is that right? Okay.
Let's laugh together.
I love him.
The Suki and Scott Show.
That's the best intro for a show I maybe have ever seen.
Really?
Your intro is fantastic.
Yes, Eric Roberts, and it only gets better. Suk, listen, before we bring the guys in, we start coming up next weekend, added a new station in Norfolk, Virginia, WGNT. It's a CW station. We're going to be on Saturdays at 11 a.m. So if you're in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach market
area.
Yes, the Virginia Beach market. We're on the CW 27 every Saturday at 11 a.m. Suk, very excited. We last week we had Denise Williams on. Let's hear it for the boy.
Yeah.
And Denise just, you know, she was part of the soundtrack of our childhoods in high school.
Listen, who knew that we were celebrating 39 years of that song being on the radio?
Yeah,
I mean, have a
Footloose,
moment with
right?
that. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Frank Maudsley, part of Flock of Seagulls, which was huge when we were in high school. They shot onto the scene, huge on MTV. Steve Blacknell, a big part of the reason why they became so big. And so the great thing is they've recently gotten back together, right? Because there have been other iterations of the band.
Yeah.
Frank's one of the originals. And they were on Dick Clark. I mean, those guys skyrocketed, right? They were on American Bandstand, the whole deal. And the great thing is now, number one, they look completely different than they did in the 80s, Suk, as we all do. Everybody had much better hair back in the 80s. But you know, when you look online, you see, like, you know, Frank, who's still obviously still playing. I caught a couple of videos of Frank doing like acoustic versions of Flock of Seagulls songs. So I'm just going to give you a little bit of that, and then we'll bring Steve and Frank both onto the show. We got some great things to talk about, some great stories. Check it out, and we'll see him on the other side.
The more you live, the more you love. So they say, you throw away. You say that nothing lasts forever. Even true love turns to pain. Don't trust your feelings to strangers. Don't want to go through this again.
Yes, indeed. There they are, ladies and gentlemen. Frank, Steve, good to see you guys. Listen, apparently, you know, losing hair doesn't mean you've lost talent, Frank, and that's the good thing.
Bald Eagles.
The Bald Eagles.
That's true. Good to see you, man. Steve, welcome aboard. Now, both of you guys are over in the UK. Where are you specifically right now?
I'm in the lounge, no, I'm actually at the south coast. Let's think, Dover, which goes over to France, is round the corner. So we're over the sea with seagulls above. So if you hear seagulls, it's not a tape. It's actually seagulls.
That's so funny. Frank, where are you, my friend?
I'm in the kitchen.
In the kitchen, all right.
I am too. I'm in the kitchen.
In England, we live in the kitchen. It's the heart of the house.
Yeah.
In fact, every American TV show you see, they're in the kitchen.
Always.
Everybody's in the kitchen. Frank, hold on. I just want to fix your mic a little bit. Hold on. I just want to make you a little louder.
I love that.
There you go. That should work a little bit.
That works much better.
So listen, guys. The reason we have both you guys on together is because you know you're both very good looking, and I've got some. I'm gonna take you back, you know, with some good stuff. But we, you know, Flock of Seagulls started right around 1980, right, Frank? You guys got together?
We didn't get together in 1980. It was
83, right?
79. I just like to correct you, really. I could have said it, 1962.
And Steve, Steve was working at Decca Records, which is a crazy story, Steve, because when you read your biography, you started out, you were cleaning toilets at an insane asylum. What's the story? What was going on there?
Well, actually, it was a mental hospital, as we call it. And I was so good that after 6 months, they gave me a brush. I was very good at that. But I hate to correct you across the Atlantic. But
Go
it
ahead.
wasn't Decca, my friend. It was Jive. In 81, I started at Decca, but just in case any of the bosses from Jive are looking. So it was Jive Records, and I was a bit the worst for a couple of pints of very weak lager. And I was at a gig in London and saw this band, A Flock of Seagulls, supporting Betty Bright and the Illuminations. And they were dressed, weren't you, Frank? Dreadfully. Frank, stop it. Weren't you dressed? You were dressed dreadfully in yellow boiler suits. They looked dreadful. But not like that, but they did look awful on stage.
I look like something out of Star Trek.
You do?
Yeah, well, that's Frank in the second from the right, and everybody always talked about the hairdos, right? And
Well, they were all hairstylists
right.
back in the day.
Unfortunately, I partly feel responsible for that because me and Mike were hairdressers, and we were doing a big concert in Jamaica, and there's like 100,000 people waiting for us to go on, and we were really like, hey, we don't need to rush anymore. We're cool. And Nick was in the mirror doing his hair, back home because he had this haircut going. And I just went around in the middle of his head. I went, come on, hurry up. And this seagull appeared. And that was it. We got ushered on stage, and Mick went on stage with his hair like that, and that was it.
It was
it was just by accident, huh?
By that, it was like douche, douche. And there you go. And there it is.
That is unbelievable, man.
And the trouble is, Scott, I inherited it, so I've still got my seagull peak here. It's still there, and it won't go. But at least I've got some hair, Frank.
Well, I mean, grass doesn't grow on a busy street.
Frank, when you were starting and creating this music together, right? I mean, you guys didn't, it was just by happenstance that it all happened. But when it happened so quick, and all of a sudden it was like an explosion of this electronic, romantic, new wave sound that just blew everybody's mind. Did you know that you'd be one of the front runners in creating this new sound?
It was well, when you're actually doing something and creating something, you're not aware of what's going on around you, existentially around you, because you're busy doing what you're actually doing. And when it all started, the 80s started to take off, we knew we were definitely part of something bigger than it hadn't been created yet. Because everyone's put us in labels and pigeonholes of new romanticism, new wave, punk. I thought we were just a flock of seagulls. We were just us, But it was quite frightening to watch it grow as an entity and as an art form. It come to a point I was having real bad anxiety and depression because you travel all day on a bus, or you'd be in an aeroplane, or you're in a hotel room, and suddenly you're in front of 100,000 people, and your adrenaline rush is too much. And then you come off stage, and the dressing room's full of record company executives. You're soaking wet. You just want to be on your own and be quiet and come down to the reality that everybody else lives in. And I just felt anxious, and I didn't really like it or enjoy it, to be quite honest with you. I haven't really mentioned that before. And I started to go through like a kind of bit of phase. I thought, do I really like doing this? Because it was just all a bit too intense. It was like an anti-climax. And then you settle down to the next day, and then the roller coaster ride starts all over again. And because you knew so many people you were employing, they didn't want to let anyone down, so you just kept doing it and kept doing it. And unfortunately, Paul Reynolds, the youngest member of the band, I do feel for him that it was maybe a little bit too much at the time for a young person. He was only 17, 18. And when you're 17, 18, you think you can rule the world. But anyone who's older than you looks down and thinks, oh, this isn't looking too good. I think Steve will agree with me on this. But he's been through this situation. Everybody expects something from you. And the people who expect something from you are making money out of you. And they don't want that cash flow to stop. So everything, if I think of us Flock of Seagulls, I think of all the other bands that were around that time. They ain't around anymore, and they're just doing concerts and gigs, and they're just going through that again. I want to be part of the creative process of it, the whole situation, rather than stand up on stage. We're training the monkeys to do that now. You know what I'm saying, Steve?
But I tell you what, guys, when we went to, we were doing Radio City, and we'd sold it out. Radio City in New York, we'd sold it out. I was the compere, and the first up we were met in JFK with this great limo with everything in it. Little did we know that the band were paying for it. Of course, we were thinking, this is great luxury. And then at this time, it was the wave of England. It was the English swinging coming in, and just like if you can go back to Woodstock, Max Yasgur, when he stood on the stage and went, now I'm a farmer, and the whole place went, I walked on and said, now I'm from London, and about however many it is, 4.5, they all stood up and cheered. And all I could say was, here's 4 more lads from Liverpool, a flock of seagulls. And I'm still going goosebumpy to this day.
Wow.
I still got hairs on my arms go up. That was the power of MTV. That was the power of what it was. So bands like the Seagulls, ABC, Duran, Kajagoogoo, the lot, didn't have to trudge across America anymore. They could just send a video.
And also, you guys were on the soundtracks to so many of our favorite movies as well. I mean, it was incredible.
Yeah. But we're not having to, like, I don't have to come to LA to talk to you. I can do it in our kitchen with a cup of Earl Grey. Saving a fortune here.
Frank, they wouldn't let you sit in the living room for this, huh? They made you sit in the kitchen?
It's too warm. It's been, the weather in England's been really hot. What's the temperature, Patricia? This is the wife.
Hello, Patricia.
Patricia.
26 times.
Wow.
It's hot.
That's hot.
It's that hot. I just saw a dog running after a lamppost. That's English humour for you.
I love it. In England, when I was in America, people say, "Hey guys, what's the weather like in England?" And I go, "Wait a minute." So we're not used to a hot or cold. It's everything after each other. I mean, it could be raining, it could be snowing in an hour.
Frank, when you created that song, did you ever think it'd have the legs that it does today? Like the whole feel of it? I mean the whole album.
That particular song, yeah, there was something about it. I mean, Steve was right onto it, and telecommunication, all the early stuff. Steve was actually a member of the band. He just didn't know it. You know, I didn't feel we wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for this man here. And that's why I hate him. I can't stand him because he
ruined your life.
All it was that I ran
on television and radio. It follows me 2,000 or more.
This song, I ran, and I literally ran back to the record label and said, "I've been wrong all my life, but this is a top 10 American record." And the boss came and saw them and signed them. Everyone was after them, and blow me down. Look what happened. But there was a faith within the band, and certainly I went on tour with the band. We did America a couple of times, best times of my life, and
I always kind of
that feeling was.
We knew, I don't know how or why, or some cosmic, you know, but I always knew that we would do something. People say, "Oh, you've made it." Well, I think this time we met each other and went into the rehearsal studio because it just fitted together. Everything just went together. And we just make it up as we went along. We didn't sit in a room and write a song. We just went and had a jam, and then someone would play something, play that again. And it worked like that. It was very exciting. It was like making a cake that tasted nice. You know, and then you remember the recipe, and then you start another cake or another recipe. That's what it was like. It wasn't like sitting alone with a guitar going like, "Run across the field." You know, none of that stuff. We just got in there.
Frank, I gotta tell you, I don't know of any other song that actually mentions the Aurora Borealis in the lyrics. Is Iran the only one?
I've never heard the Aurora Borealis in anything, because when we talk about the Aurora Borealis, it really makes any sense.
Aurora Borealis.
Well, also Space Age, Wishing. There's so many good songs that, you know, I mean, that were a part of it. Steve, out of curiosity, when you call it the London sound, there was like a particular sound in the 80s coming out of England. What was that? Was that the street sound of what turned into like hip hop 2000 America, you know, that whole vibe? Like, was that what was happening in at that time in the 80s?
It's funny because we didn't really know. That's the point. For such a small country, and I had a show on MTV called London Calling, and that was running through those 80s, and we got the Seagulls on eventually. And that ran for a couple of years on MTV. Oh God, there he is. That's it. That's blimey. That's me auditioning for the sixth VJ on MTV.
Yeah.
I didn't get the job, but I didn't get the job because they couldn't understand a bloody word I was saying. Not surprising, really. But the actual fact of
But they understood Nina Blackwood, right?
Yeah, Nina they understood.
They got Nina. We've got Nina. I mean, Nina and I became good chums, and Martha and everyone. But I was desperate to join them, but it was not to be. The quick answer is we don't know. We had London as our stage. I know it sounds corny, but we would go up to a Freddie Mercury or approach them. For instance, like Bill Wyman from the Stones, he wanted to do an interview, and we said to Bill, "Where do you want to do the interview?" He said, "I'd like to do it playing table tennis." So that's what we did. So we all through the series, we just catered for the people. As for the new things coming up, I don't know. We did introduce things like Tracy Ullman, Simply Red, Marillion, and bigger stuff. But we don't know. And I don't think we still know what makes London and Liverpool, let's face it, and Manchester, Birmingham. Why the heck we can produce all that, we don't know.
Yeah.
No,
what's in the water in Liverpool and Birmingham?
I think that it's because it's an island. And there's water around. Everyone's got water around. But it was the whole country was a port, and everything came to this country, and everything went from this country to other countries, and everything that went to Europe came from America, whatever, and came to England first, then went there. So it was like a little petrol station. The petrol was cheap.
And Steve, you talk about interviewing celebrities and musicians and doing it where they wanted to be interviewed.
I've been interviewed in bathtubs.
Well, yes. Well, David Cassidy was a huge star in this country because of the Partridge Family, of course. And Suki, I found a little something online. Steve Blacknell and David Cassidy in an exclusive interview. Take a little look at this.
Yes. David Cassidy. You know what he's doing there? Rodney. Yeah, could you bring in the shampoo now? Thank you. Shampoo? Yeah. What is shampoo? That's the shampoo. Champagne, sir. Ah, lovely. Well, champagne. Thank you, Rodney. The nouveau rich call it shampoo. The nouveau rich? Yeah. Well, there goes one of the glasses. Oh, that's quite all right. You're just going to sink it. I don't believe this. I mean, David, do you ever get tired of this lifestyle at all? I mean, you've been living it for quite some time now. Oh, it's bloody murder, mate. Really? It's terrible. You're a bit flash, actually, when it comes to it, aren't you? Flash? Yeah. Oh, come on. No, I mean, I'm as slow as a flying mallet. I wouldn't say that I'm flash. No, I'll tell you, when I gave up the business about 8 years ago, I was living around security guards, and I had a whole entourage that was with me at all times, and I was literally a prisoner of my own success. And
that was amazing. Amazing.
That's good stuff, man.
And then I got in the bath with him afterwards.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you jump in the bath. I mean, that's just listen. That's one of those things like today. Everybody's trying to figure out new ways to present content. Something like that. Listen, I'd love to interview Kim Kardashian while she's sitting in the tub. That'd be fantastic.
There you are. So that it just worked. And David wanted to be interviewed with champagne in a bath, and we said, all right. So the only other thing that happened he got out the bath after I climbed in, and we wrapped. We finished, and he said bye-bye, and he said goodbye, and I noticed suddenly that my female producer had gone missing. And she was missing for 4 days in Manchester with David Cassidy.
Love it.
Oh my God!
I'd just like to add. I think I put a good cue in for that little clip there.
You did.
I didn't go listen with any female producers, though. That was a bad bit.
It's so funny, Frank. I wanted to add. You mentioned it before, but even for Flock of Seagulls, MTV was really unbelievable. That came along right at the perfect time for you guys, right?
Yeah, it is. I always remember, I don't know why, but I had this thing in my head that American music was based around check shirts and builder's boots and ripped jeans and handkerchiefs and Bruce Springsteen. In England, that's how it came across to me. And if I ever did have an idea that American music was like, I don't know, it was that American car, the American gas station, the outdoor cinema thing that is going, the burger, the milkshakes. That's America, the way we saw it. And I think when we went to America and then he saw us and then you began to see our culture, I think that's when we all became the same. Do you understand me?
Yeah.
And it is now the village, the Whale village.
That's
and I
it.
think we did cross different boundaries and it's all grown up together now. Except for that shit Simon Cowell's doing.
It's killing the country. Just kidding. But
there'll be computers one day, and people who use themselves as an art, there won't be any, because people have forgotten how to do it. It's like kids now, they've got old phones, they're walking around like this. There was a young girl in England, in Liverpool, recently, walking across the road to an and hit by a car.
Yeah.
How sad is that? And the OMG, LOL, WTF. They won't be able to spell or speak soon, it'll be LOL.
I know. But Frank,
I just got to add one thing about the look. I know that the boys were often treated like Disney characters when they went into the Midwest. I was down in Connecticut at one point because we were playing there. That's right. I remember going through the main street in Westport, and I had the amount of abuse. Hey, Boy George, you look not there.
Yeah.
It was incredible. So the look that the band had there, I mimicked, had bright red hair as well. So you can imagine that looking like that and going through the Midwest, you know, it's gotta be easier sending a video in.
Well, you guys
we had to go through some of the comments that were put to us by like cowboys. I mean, you know, like the hat on, walking around with guns.
And listen, you guys
said to me, he says, "Hey, did you get that hairstyle from the back of a limo?" Like that.
Yeah, and then who got the last laugh, Frank? Because on one of the biggest shows in history, there you got Chandler on Friends, you know, mimicking the hairstyle. So
it's funny, we do see that a lot, you know, on different TV shows. It was in Pulp Fiction, the guy lying on the bed eating the McDonald's. So I do get a lot of that. But just being Frank from Liverpool, I'd never really see myself as being famous. I'm just Frank from Liverpool. And I do get it now and again when I'm out. Oh, you're that guy. And then I go, yeah, I forgot about him. That's not only me. You know what I'm saying?
Steve, I have a question regarding just where do you think the legacy of all of that music? I mean, Duran Duran, Flock of Seagulls. I mean, AHA. I mean, it was like all of these. Like it was like so many. I mean, Kate Bush. I mean, all of that stuff that we all used to listen to ad nauseum, really. I mean, Prefab Sprout. I love them. I mean, that was like in the late 80s, early 90s. So many. Where does it all fit in?
I think what happened was the Beatles started this. And before them, Mozart started it. And before then, someone else started. There's always gaps in music where someone does something, and then it carries on like that until someone does something new. And then it carries on like that. So I think that the 80s, for me, are very reminiscent to the 60s.
Yeah.
And people from the 60s is very reminiscent to, say, the 40s. And people in the 40s are reminiscent to the 20s. So it's grown in steps.
Well, because I feel like Harry Styles' new album is very influenced by the 90s. I mean, does anybody agree? The 80s and the 90s?
I haven't heard the.
None of us are listening to Harry Styles. So.
It is.
In 1990.
I mean, like seriously, it sounds like 1985. It does sound like 1985 with the synthesizers, and it's pretty incredible.
Well, you know,
in answer to your question, though, Suki, I would say that it still is a bit. I think Frank's absolutely correct. I've badly written both the Top of the Pops books. That's our English show here. Badly written them, mainly a bit out of it in the back of a cab. Oh, there you go, many years ago. Plug. But I think the book's dead now, but we can plug it anyway. but the 80s is a very odd thing. It stands out, and I can't quite describe it, but I was at a gig, and you'll remember Wang Chung. Dance All Day. Sure. Now, I'd met Darren, the drummer, once, ever. And we met in a club, and it was like, God, where have you been? Steve. And for some obscure reason, it feels like you've been through something. Now, we haven't, and it's nothing like going through a war or anything, but it just feels like we went through something, but we're not quite sure what it was. But there's a bond, isn't there, Frank?
I think everybody who's been in the music business at every decade or every time in their lives, I've been through something they've been through and they don't understand either. You know, I see like like the band Slade, Noddy Older, he was so old the other day, and he was with Dave Hill, was it? He was with him. And I don't think they understand what Slade meant to me. But to them, that's just Noddy. And that's just whoever it is. And imagine being David Bowie or Paul McCartney, then you can actually say, oh yeah, I'm someone. You know, but I can't say I'm someone, I'm just Frank from Liverpool.
Frank from Liverpool. You know, Suk, you mentioned you mentioned Kate Bush, Suk, and you know she has become huge again.
TikTok.
She's back on the charts because of Stranger Things.
Yeah.
Her song "Running Up That Hill" is, I think she took over the #1 spot over in the UK again. Yeah. I think she's now been on longer than Cher. I feel like I just heard Cher sent her a tweak. But anyway, Suki, do you know who dated Kate Bush back before she was famous? That's Steve. That's Steve Blacknell right there.
Steve, you did?
So Steve,
I did not know that.
Yes, Steve dated Kate Bush back before she was famous. Steve, how did you guys meet? Can you talk about that or no?
I can talk. Yeah, sure. I was in Dartford in Kent. I sort of it used to be a town, but it's sort of wrecked now. But basically, what's left of Dartford, just outside London. And a mate of mine was going down the hill. He was walking down the hill, not running down it, and I just saw the back of this brown hair. She turned round, and that was it. And so all I knew was she was vegetarian, and weirdly, my eating habits changed very, very abruptly over that period, and we became an item. And yes, it was my first love. And
I didn't even know that, Steve.
It's so fun, Steve.
The lady that I met after Kate is my wife, who's upstairs.
Oh,
has the same beautiful brown eyes. Well, they're not the same eyes, but they look like them because they couldn't share a pair of eyes. But yeah, but they're the same eyes, you know. So, but generally, yeah, it was. I will just say this: there was a time when, and I'm sure she wouldn't mind me saying this because I've just sent her a message saying, "Well done, and well done, you're back where you belong." But we used to sit there, and I used to say, "I'm going to be a DJ." And it was like, oh, yeah. And she said, I'm going to be a singer. And our whole thing was that one day I'd introduce her on Top of the Pops. And I didn't. Wow. I wrote the books and she was on it. We nearly got there. But all I can say is I found out what a genius she was one day when she started to play the piano. And I thought, oh, my God. So very lucky to have known her and still know her a bit. And I'm just thankful because she's a genius, an absolute genius.
Wow, yeah.
Nothing like Kate Bush.
And the amazing thing is, Suk, it's like my daughters now know who Kate Bush is, and they know her songs because we're all watching.
Listen, my daughter's 8 years old. She was singing. I said, "Are you singing Kate Bush right now?"
That's a good thing about Iran, the song. I'm sorry to come in on this. Is that we have Grand Theft Auto, Vice City, and it's brought a whole new generation. I know young people now who play that game.
Yeah.
And I believe you had something to do with the song on that. And I go, yeah, so it's coming back round again. And everything comes round.
It all comes around.
And all when you guys that when it comes round, I just wish that, you know, we need Stranger Things.
Frank, what is your favorite song that you guys wrote together?
The End.
The End?
I think it was on the third album.
Third album.
Oh, no, actually, it was on the third album, Story of the Young Horse.
Well, listen, Frank, you know, the ones that were big here, obviously, Iran, Space Age Love Song, Wishing.
Space Age Love Song.
You know, so many covers have been done with Iran. And I pulled
long ago
hundreds of them.
I was in a restaurant not long ago with Parker. And there's this girl singing in the background or the background music. And they're like, I know this song. I know this. And then I wrote this.
Well, listen, I'm gonna play you and Steve and Suki 3 cover songs, like 20 seconds, 30 seconds of Iran, different parts. And you just let me, we'll do like American Idol. You let me know what you think of these covers versions. You ready? Here you go. Here's the first one. Again, it's about 20 seconds each. I'll give you 3 of the ones that I picked out. Here you go. Here's the first one. Take a look.
That's not bad, Frank.
It's not bad. Wait, this one, if that one was okay,
like,
Frank.
No, that was all right.
Here you go, Frank. Here's cover number 2. Iran coming up.
I just ran so far away. I just ran all night and day. I couldn't get away.
I love how she. I couldn't get away.
No, I was
no good. All right, here you go. Here's number 3.
That was a little
opinion. You know, I'm not gonna like go, oh yeah, just for the sake of it.
Of course, that's what.
People there mine all my life. So
He's from Liverpool.
Frank from Liverpool would never do that.
No. Okay, all right, here's the third one. You ready? Tell me what you think of this one.
Long hair, it's on the line. Cannibalize and hypnotize me through. Hypnotize me through. And I ran so far away. And I ran all night and day. I couldn't get away.
I like that one.
Not bad, right?
Like a flock of seagulls. That girl, like she was sitting on a nail. But that was like some guy playing the guitar and doing that thing.
Oh, you've been sitting there with that guitar the whole time, Frank?
Come on, Frank, take it away.
I like this version.
Go ahead, Frank. Light it up.
Walk along the avenue. Never thought I'd meet a girl like you. Open hair and sunny eyes that hypnotize me too. I caught a piece above your head. People like come shining down on you. And I ran.
Thank you for. Wow.
Nicely done, Frank. Even in the kitchen. Jesus, it sounds great.
Kind of guy I am. Open the fridge, I'll do 20 minutes. Steve.
Steve, what is when you look back at, having interviewed so many people, what are the moments that you remember the most that you felt like you got, wow, that was the interview that people need to see more of? What was it?
Well, that one you're showing there probably with Bill Collins, the ex-Bald drummer, at Live Aid. Yeah, that was kind of something to do that. The reason I did that was because the UK knew I had a show over in America, so my job was to do that and go and meet Nina and everyone on the stage in Philly, which didn't quite work out. Probably the one that I sort of remember, only because I was a bit trying to think the English word of it, up myself, a bit self-important, stupid, was when I interviewed Tina Turner, and I had the hots for her, and
wow.
I think the world had we used to call it I Can Turn Her Over. That's what I can turn her over. Yeah. So I can turn her over was there, and we.
Oh boy.
And so I was doing the chat, and suddenly I just put the script down, and we talked for an hour, and I was madly in love. And of course, I spoke to the manager the next day, and I said, "Would Tina go out with me?" And he said, "Don't be so
Tell me
stupid.
crazy.
You must be stupid, boy. Shut up and go home." 0 out of 10. Try harder next term. But generally, the interviews, I think all of them, particularly the bizarre ones. Yes, the Concord with Paul Collins was special, of course.
Well, let's hold that. You know what, Steve? Hold that right there. Let's take a quick.
How's it been? Great, yeah. Madness, really, isn't it? Yeah, it's about, what's the atmosphere like there now? It's great, actually, yeah. The weather was really nice earlier, but now it's starting to get cloudy. Everyone's starting to get close together and warmed up, you know. It's like Woodstock on speed, is it? It's good fun up there. Everyone's very nice backstage. No egos, nothing. Really good. Listen, who's...
Love it. That was from Live Aid, right?
From Live Aid, yeah, that's right. So we did that, and then we had a bit of a problem in the cockpit talking, and the whole thing went down. It was strewn with disaster. And then Phil got me into one of his videos called Hanging Long Enough. I was living in Los Angeles. I was out there for 8-9 years. I had a 9 years jail term in Los Angeles. So I was there for 9 years. And so I appeared. So I got to know Phil a bit, but he's not been well. He's a very good man, a very kind man, and one which is him well. But they were all special, Suki. I know it sounds crazy, but it's
I know.
And now I teach interview technique, and like what you're doing here, and I like that just about as much as being on camera, to be honest. But
well, I gotta imagine, Steve, because when you're with all these like big, high-level celebrities, lots of ego at the time, like everybody's living their best life at that moment. How do you basically cut through the bullshit? Can I say that?
You can,
Sip,
you can.
Cut through the bull and really get to the meat and the potatoes, and get to that person, that soundbite that you see a little bit of the shell kind of peeling back.
I understand what you're saying. Well, I guess you guys know, because you're obviously incredibly good at what you do too. So it does come natural to one, doesn't it? Where it doesn't to another, because that camera, that's the flashing light. The camera, woo. But well, to me, I was never. I don't think I was. The only time I was ever daunted by anybody.
Sir Paul McCartney.
Not Paul McCartney, no. A Beatle doesn't bother me much, but a band called the Incredible String Band, who were, I mean, no one knows who they are. They're a 60s folk band, but they were my heroes. And when I met my heroes and ended up living with my heroes, that was ridiculous. But the Seagulls is a great thing in point. It was a dream to actually see the band, feel that, which I've now got. Can you see? Now got that going
yeah.
You get those goosebumps every time.
Well, I'm a failed Hollywood actor, and you cannot fake that. No matter, you cannot fake a goosebump. And so when I saw the Seagulls, it was like, what the hell is this? And blow me down, just like I've been lucky enough 2 or 3 times. I ended up working with the band. I was actually fired by the record label, by a gentleman called Clive Calder, I can say that, who's done rather well. Yeah, no, shut up, Frank. And so he sort of said, it's time for you to go. But he said, here you go, Steve, take some salary, go on tour with the Seagulls for 6 months in America, and we'll just pay you. And it was just like being paid for that with the greatest band in the world.
Steve actually made it all for me, you know, being there, entertainment. It wouldn't have been the same if he hadn't been there, because he was just kept us bubbly, kept us refreshed all the time. You know, we'd have pool competitions with the Dawlish vase, a little glass from some pub in Dorling, somewhere in England, and just kept us refreshed and kept us going and kept our pecker up, you know what I mean? He was always there for us, always made me laugh, always had a smile on his face. When we were down, he brought me up.
But when Frank, we had this thing, if you remember the Pink Panther, we used to, because Mordo, used to call him Mordo, well, still do. And he used to have this thing about jumping out at you. And I remember going into a dressing room and I'm walking by, and it was about midnight, and this figure leaps out, and this Frank goes, "Not now, Mordo!" Bang! It was just the greatest time, and it
I
was
love
a
it.
pure privilege.
I used to go around the hotel corridors with a screwdriver when the lads were out, and the roadies and the sound and the lighting people, and change all the numbers on the doors.
Oh my God.
They'd all come in drunk, and none of them were
The wrong doors.
Didn't add up in the hotel. There was no 36, but there was a 63.
Oh, that's so funny. I love it. I love it.
Things
Frank,
like that, you know.
you guys
You know.
got to get you were the prankster of the group, right? Because everything I read, you were it.
You've got to keep it going. Otherwise, you just get it's an anti-climax coming off stage in front of a large audience. Then you have to make your day up, because otherwise you're on a plane, the airport, or on a bus, a tour bus, or you're in a studio, and that was it. That was all the time. There was no change, and it went on for 2 or 3 years. So you have to make up your own entertainment by doing stupid things to other people, but you also have to accept it was going to happen to you. Like Mike's keyboards, we get gaffer tape and we stick them all under the keyboard. So when he pressed one note with his one finger, he'd go, talcum powder on his drums. So when he hit them in the beginning,
You get powder.
And we had this thing called a viber. We must watch our language here, Frank. We had a viber, which was Pernod and grapefruit. That was in the rider. And before the gig, there'd be the 5 of us. And it would always be, if up, we all
mess up.
And it was like, it was a ritual. And
just
for me to walk out on radio, I mean, for little old me, walking out there and then going, 4 lads from Liverpool, it was just incredible. And so we returned the favour back here because we did some BBC stuff, didn't we, Frank? We did quite a few things. I went to New York to do a documentary for the BBC and stuff. So
the Oxford Road Show and stuff.
Huh?
The Oxford Road Show.
It was all that, yeah.
I love it.
All
And
that.
Frank,
So
you guys got together recently, couple of years now, right? To make a new album called Ascension, where you guys kind of worked with the Prague Orchestra.
Yeah, that was good. I enjoyed that because I didn't have to meet the rest of the band. I was in the studio doing my part. He was looking at me now as if he's trying to mind meld me to say something nice. Well, I will. But I can see him, and see his brain there ticking over. But it was good to be in the studio, to do it on your own, to show that I could do this on my own, while someone's in another studio on the other side of the world, while an orchestra's in southern Prague, while is in Florida, Mike's in London, and we could record an album with the Prague Philharmonic Orchestra. Now that in itself, I think that's one of the thoughts that we had at the very beginning of the band, that we thought about that technology then. Hey, imagine us all being in all different parts of the world and be able to record something. Because that's what we were about, that technology thing. And it worked really well. And then for the video, we all got back together and it was good. It was like a rebirth. We did that little small video in the studio in Park Street Studios in Liverpool. And it was like a rebirth that we were all back together again. I think that what you're watching there, that's The Tube, a TV show that was on Channel 4. And I think that was 1984, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Wow. Hey, Frank, listen, before we go, could you give us 1 minute of another big hit for you guys while you're sitting there in the kitchen?
What about The More You Live, The More You Love?
Love it.
That's if I can remember it, because I have a little go of Iran today, to be honest with you.
Yeah, 1 minute, Frank, not 6. 1 minute. You said.
No, go for 6, Frank. It's
fine.
Frank,
we got 6. We got 6 minutes to kill.
Look at Steve. Steve's like, reel it in.
Don't ever give your heart to a stranger, or tell your secrets to your friends. Put your heart in mortal danger. Don't want to go through this again. The more you live, the more you love. Oh, so they say you throw it away. say that nothing lasts forever. Even true love turns to pain. To trust your feelings to strangers. Don't wanna go through this again. The more you live, the more you love. Oh, so they say you throw it away. Hey, I still got it, haven't I?
You still got it, Frank. You still got it.
Still got it, Frank.
That's the first time I actually played or performed.
Frank, I'm going to show everybody why you still got it, because I found this photo and it was on your Facebook page. So I assume it's okay to put on. I just got to ask you what's happening. I got what's happening right here, Frank.
I was hoping it was fine.
That's put
Frank,
me off my dinner.
What's going on there, Frank?
I woke up one day and I thought, I need a Facebook profile and I'll just try a shot.
He only had a small part in that production.
I love it. Guys, listen, thank you so much. I mean, we just killed 50 minutes and it was like 5. You guys are fantastic.
Oh, Steve, thanks for the memories. I mean, we all remember London Calling. I mean, thank you so much. Frank, soundtrack of our lives.
Thank you. Really good.
Thank you, my friend. Steve, where can people reach you if they want to get involved with, learning how to be on camera and hosting and whatnot?
Myself will be starting up a new, right in the heart of London. I've been told it is www.tvmediatraining.com.
TV Media Training.
It's my own academy with 5 or 6 very good people. And I'm told I'm the most experienced TV tutor in Britain. I don't know what that means, but I'll just hopefully get the money from it.
There you go.
Yeah, he's good.
You ever need Suki and I to make an appearance on a remote, you let us know. We'll pop into the class.
Done deal, sir. Done deal.
And Frank, listen, man, you're a legend. Flock of Seagulls. Come on. You know how many times I made out with a girl in the back of my car to one of those tunes? Forget it.
No comment.
No comment, huh? No comment?
Actually, back in the day, that was like shock tactic. Standing in the garden, one sock on.
I wasn't looking at the sock, Frank. I wasn't looking at the sock.
The sock was on my foot.
Well, I was trying to see it, Suki, but I just couldn't see it to save my life. It was in there somewhere. Yeah.
I love this. Let me leave you on that.
Frank, tell Patricia we love her for putting up with you all these years.
Say bye-bye. Come on.
Come on, Patricia. Say goodbye. Hi, Patricia.
There she is. Wait, Patricia, hold on. Could you help me explain this picture right here?
Out of the way.
Some people have to wait.
Thank you guys so much. Have the best summer, and just an absolute pleasure to have you on here. Really.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Thanks,
Enjoy.
guys.
Thanks,
Take care,
guys.
fellas.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Oh my gosh, that was good.
They were great. Wow, Sue.
Oh God,
So
don't you
great.
just love English humor? Let's have a minute. It's just so much better.
Wait, did they have an accent or did we have an accent?
We had an accent. We sucked.
They've got the nice accent, right? Hold on, let me get rid of that. So, Souk, listen, tomorrow we're back on 5:30 and then 8 o'clock with Adrian Barbeau. 5:30, you and I are going to be talking to, hold on, it's Rob.
Rob
DeCina, who is he's like the VP of casting at CBS. So he's coming on at 5:30. Phil and I are going to do Adrian Barbeau at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. We're going to leave you. I got a bunch of Philly songs. He's not on with us today, but ladies, I got Phil music for you coming up in the next I got like 5 Phil songs, Suki. Other than that, everything is, those guys are fantastic. Wow. What an amazing, flock of seagulls. Jesus. Let me just hit this, Souk. We'll say goodbye to everybody. We love you guys, and we'll see you tomorrow. Philly Kid coming up right after this very important message. Bye, Souk. I love you.
Just let me hear some of that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. You got a backbeat, you can lose it. Any old time you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If you wanna dance with me. If you wanna dance with me. I have no kicks against modern jazz, unless they try to play it too darn fast and change the beauty of the melody until it sounded like a symphony. That's why I go for that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. You got a backbeat, you can lose it. Any old time you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If you wanna dance with me. If you wanna dance with me. I took my loved one over across the track so she could hear my man wailing sad. I must admit they have a rockin' band. Man, they're blowing like a hurricane. That's why I go for that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. You got a backbeat, you can't lose it. Any old time you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If you wanna dance with me. If you wanna dance with me. Way down south they gave a jubilee. I tell you folks they had a jamboree and drink a beer from a wooden cup. All the folks dancing all shook up. They started playing that rock and roll music. Any old way you choose it. You got a backbeat, you can't lose it. Any old time you use it. It's gotta be rock and roll music. If you wanna dance with me. Said if you wanna dance with me. Oh, if you wanna dance with me. Oh, if you wanna dance with me. I miss you. Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared 'neath the stars above. For a moment all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? And now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. holding you. I held everything for a moment. Wasn't I the king? But if I'd only known how the king would fall, yeah, who's to say? You know, I might have changed it all, and now I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end, the way it all would go. Our lives are better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance.
And she speaks 17 different languages. You could have stopped at the son of China's richest man. And we're off, ladies and gentlemen.
Coco speaks Chinese. Get it?
I get it.
When the night has come and the land is dark and the moon is the only light we'll see, no, I won't be afraid. No, I won't be afraid, just as long as you stand by me. Darling, stand by me. Won't you stand by me? If you're in need, won't you stand by me? If the sky you look upon should crumble and fall, and the mountains should fall to the sea, no, I won't be afraid. No, I won't shed a tear, just as long as you stand by me. Darling, stand by me. Won't you stand by me? If you're in need, won't you stand by me? stand by me? Won't you stand by me? If you're in need, won't you stand by me? Darling, stand by me. Won't you stand by me? If you're in need, won't you stand by me? Sail on down the line about a half a mile or so, and I don't really want to know just where you're going. Maybe once or twice, you see, time after time I tried to hold on to what we got, but now you're going. And I don't mind about the things you're gonna say, Lord. I gave all my money and my time. I know it's a shame, but I'm giving you back your name. Yeah, yeah. Guess I'll be on my way. I won't be back to stay. I guess I'll move along. I'm looking for a good time. Sail on down the line. Ain't funny how the time can go. My friends say they told me so, but it doesn't matter. It was plain to see that a small town boy like me just wasn't your cup of tea. I was wishful thinking. I gave you my heart and I tried to make you happy. You gave me nothing in return. You know it ain't so hard to say. Would you please just go away? Yeah, yeah. I've thrown away the blues. I'm tired of being used. I want everyone to know I'm looking for a good time. Good time.